Peace and blessings, family. Checking in once more again for another edition of Spiritual Food for Thought. I hope all is well between you and your relationship with the Most High. I know it, this life gets rough sometimes, and it can be very discouraging as we see all the evil. One of the things that the scripture says that because iniquity abounds, the love of many will wax cold. And, that's what this world can do to us. When we lose sight of the reason that we here ultimately is to glorify the Creator, as He takes us through this process of creation and shaping and forming us into the image of His only begotten Son, which was one of the ways that He's doing that is that by the example that the Son set, as like I said, the Son came into this world to conquer death, because death had to be conquered in our form as man. You know what I'm saying? Because we're the ones that the Creator made in His image and His likeness. And as I said, I continue to try to throw this point out here. We're the creatures that had the ability to reason, to rationalize, to logically put things together to understand ourselves and the world around us in relations to the Creator. And so the bottom line is, family, we have to understand things, and that's why it's told to us in all you're getting to get understanding. It didn't say get faith, because faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Well, family, that's stuff that don't exist. That's stuff that's being conjured up in our minds because of the things that we've been taught and told. He said, in all you'll get understanding. And it's through understanding that the Creator is the Creator, and that He manifests and creates all things through His understanding. And so, because He knows how, that's why the Creator is the Creator. And if we are created beings, then we are subject to His divine will. And so the bottom line is, family, we got to understand that all the Creator ever meant for us to be is ourselves. And He sent His Son into this world to be example, to show us how we're supposed to have dialogue with the Creator. And as I said, many people have deemed the Son of the Creator, as the Father. And family, that's not possible. The bottom line is, who is He praying to if He's the Father? You know what I'm saying? Why did He say things like, my Father is greater than I do the works that I seen my Father do? All of these things. He always lifted up the Father. He never looked for worship Himself. When them words came forth like, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. Family, that wasn't the Son speaking. That was the Father speaking through Him. And so it's many times that people assume that it was the Son speaking and it was the Father speaking through Him. Okay? The bottom line is, we got to understand these things. And only the Spirit of the Father gives us the understanding of these things and these truths. That's what the revelation is about. It's the revelation of the Father, the revelation of the Spirit of the Father that's given us to understand the reality that up until the time that He drew us to seek and search Him out and hunger and thirst for His righteousness and all these things, we've been had, and we've been walking in darkness and ignorance, and we've been walking in a way that's contrary to the divine will of the Creator. And so the bottom line is, we have to understand, family, in our flesh, we don't have our right mind. We don't have a sound mind in our flesh. In our flesh, family, we're stricken with mental illness. And that's what it comes down to, because to have any kind of understanding or knowledge or anything that's contrary to the divine will, under the spirit of His divine love to make us one with our Creator and each other, then we're walking in mental illness. You know what I'm saying? Because when you stop and talk about, when you talk about mentality, it's a mindset. It's a way of thinking and all these things. And if that way of thinking is contrary to the divine will of the Creator, then what is called is mental illness. So, with that said, before I go on, I just want to make a point. I'm not no teacher. I'm not no title or none of that trying to convince you or tell you how to believe or what to believe. I'm just presenting some thoughts out there to give you something to consider or think about, and take that stuff to the Creator. And as I said, when I share these videos, it's one of them things like I heard a brother say, eat the fruit and spit the seeds out. You know, so the bottom line is what you could receive is all praise to the Most High. And what you don't get, it's all praise to the Most High as well. But I mean, it's things that when they're brought to us and we seek the Father about it, then if we don't get the answers right away, the old saying was like, just put it on a shelf. And in the time that we're supposed to receive that understanding, it comes forth. And then it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. See, that's how the Father works with us, family. He's a living spirit, okay? A live spirit. He ain't got nothing to do with death. And in this realm where we are in our flesh, we in the realm of death. As I said in a previous video before, we dead already in our flesh. That's why we can't receive the things of the spirit of the Creator. And it's foolishness to us. Neither can we know them because it's spiritually discerned in our flesh. The flesh is dead to the Creator. So the bottom line is he don't know the ways of the flesh. And that's why eventually all those things that oppose the divine will of the Creator, in his time, it's going to be done away with. And, you know, as I've said, that's what the lake of fire is about. It's the garbage disposal and the incinerator for the trash of creation that was left over from creation, that was in opposition to his divine will of love that makes us all one with him, each other, our fellow creatures, and Mother Earth, and who he brought us all forth from. Such is the kingdom of heaven. So, with that said, like I said, evil is mental illness, because evil is all of those things that oppose the perfect will of the Creator that makes us one, that brings about the harmony of creation, where we all understand our purpose and place. The scripture also says that in the kingdom, he said the whole earth will be filled with the understanding or knowledge of the Creator. So that means that all of us will know our place, so we won't continue to do things that cut the flow of life off, because that's a result of mental illness. Because our mental capacity, we at a low frequency. So we more or less at a frequency like a beast. And we don't operate in intelligence, because any intelligence that's below the standard of the Creator, you know, is really artificial. And see, that's the bottom line, what happened in the garden. See, Hasatan is artificial intelligence. That's why the world now is being ruled by artificial intelligence, by machines and stuff like that. Because in reality, see, our flesh has been motivated and driven by artificial intelligence, an understanding that's below the standard of our divine Creator. That's why now in our flesh, we all are little gods, because we've been ruled by them little gods that's actually just ruling through us. Because as I said, spiritual beings need a material host in order to manifest themselves. So this is why, since man was given dominion over the earth, then Hasatan had to take that dominion from man, as he made man one mind with him. Okay, and as I said, when you take what happened in the garden in spiritual account, as I said, when it was said, it spoke to the devil by the Creator, that upon your belly you shall go, and you shall eat dust all the days of your life. And as I said, we came from the dust of the ground. So we came from the dust of the earth. So the thing that's doing the eating is consuming the thing that's being eaten. So the thing that's being eaten has become one with the thing that did the eating. So this is how and why that the devil or the serpent has power over our flesh. This is why in our flesh family, we are not subject to the will of our Creator, the divine will of the Creator. And this is why we walk as an adversary to the ways and the perfect will of the Creator. So this is why we must be born of His Spirit. We must receive the same Spirit that the Son of the Most High had, which empowered Him to overcome death. This is why He never submitted to the ways, because as it's no, the Bible doesn't show how the Son struggled just like we did. He had to keep His flesh in check. And it's the understanding of the Spirit that gave Him the understanding to overcome His flesh. You know what I'm saying? Even people don't believe and understand, but there's a writing out there that talked about, it talked about the Bible always talking about the 3 temptations. But it's another writing out there that it was 4 temptations. The one that was left out. Okay, the first one was what? It said that it was hunger. Okay, so the bottom line is that if you be the Son of the Most High, then you go ahead and you could turn the rocks into bread. And then He told them what? He said that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Creator. So then the next temptation, it said took him to a high pinnacle and told him, throw yourself down, for it's written that He shall give His angels charge over you, lest you and they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. And He told him, you should not tempt the Master, your Creator. Okay? Now, then the final one. He took him to a high pinnacle and showed him all the kingdoms of this world and the glory in them. And He said, you shall worship the Master, your Creator, and only Him shall you serve. Now, many people think that it was another figure out there walking around with Him, and that's who they perceive the devil to be. But the thing that we haven't realized is that He was talking to Himself. He was talking to His flesh. He was talking to His dark side. Because the reality is, see, when we're spiritually alive to the Creator, we know who we are. And we can receive who we are. Now, what would be the point if the Messiah had did any of those things to prove to who He was? See, the devil would try to make you prove to yourself who you are. And the bottom line is, that's between you and the Most High Power. It ain't got nothing to do with that cloven-footed sucker. So the bottom line is, that's what I'm saying. In our flesh, we always believe we're lacking. So that's why we're always trying to prove ourselves. See what I'm saying? That's a trap and a trick of the enemy. Because as a child of the Most High, we either know who we are. As a child of the Most High, we know who we are. So we don't have to prove ourselves. We just have to be. But see, what was left out to King James is, or most Bibles and stuff like that, is the fact that it was a 4th temptation. And the 4th temptation, that he was tempted with a woman, with having a wife and a family and all of that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, that was denied to him because of the calling on his life. Because he wouldn't have been free to be and do the things that he did had he had a family. So the bottom line is, he was tempted with that. The devil told him he'd give him the most beautiful woman of the world. And y'all have children. And you grow up and see your grandchildren and all this old kind of stuff. You had the best the world to offer. And you could also still do your ministry. See, they left that out of there. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, he warned us that that would happen. That's why in the book of Revelations, it says that, what it says. It said, if any man add to the things that's written in this book, I'm going to add to the plagues, to him the plagues that's written in this book. If any man take away the things that's written in this book, then I'm going to take away his name out the Lamb's book of life. So, family, that didn't mean that nobody would dare tamper with the writings of the scriptures. That wasn't saying that, because all people don't reverence the Most High like that. And so the bottom line is, when the scrolls got in the hands of the translators, what do we think that happened? You see what I'm saying? How dumb can we believe to think that the translators didn't tamper with the scriptures? So they added stuff in there, and then they left stuff out. So see, this is one of the reasons why the writings of men, I don't care if it's the Bible or the scrolls or whatever, it don't matter. Man wrote that stuff. And all of that stuff, really, when it comes down to it, it was written to control people. So what is it? The writings of men is propaganda. That's what it is for the ruling class. So the bottom line is to keep us under control, to keep us distracted, to keep us caught up in the cares of this world, so we don't even know how to sit down and be still and get off by ourselves and start asking and seeking the Creator for the answers we need, so we could find ourselves in our divine purpose in Him. So the bottom line is, as I've said, when we lack in His Spirit, we walking in mental illness, because that's what it is, because we lacking the truth of our Creator, which causes us to walk in this mental illness. Even affects our capacity to learn, as we caught up in the knowledge of good and evil without the understanding of our Creator. That's mental illness, family. It is what it is. All of us in this world, we have been traumatized and gone through all kind of, be nice, all kind of stuff that's got us all messed up. You know what I'm saying? We all dealing with broken families and all of these different things. Why is that? Because we all messed up. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Even the people that appear to be in a good family place, they still struggling anyway. It don't matter, because we will never excel as far as the kingdom is concerned as long as we caught up in the ways of the flesh, family. And that's just an absolute truth. So we need to be delivered from the mental illness that we all suffering, because we've been placed in a world that's totally wicked, that's full of deceit and desperately wicked, because it says that's the mind of man. It said that the heart of man is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Yeah, because we in our flesh are mentally ill as we continue to be subject to the ways of the serpent, which is what? The mark of the beast. As I said, in our flesh, we in beast mode. We're not in a mode that we're reasoning and seeking and searching and all that. We just doing based on the buttons of our senses being pushed, which causes us to worship our desires above the perfect will of our Creator. And even understanding ourselves and His divine purpose for our lives. In the flesh, we don't desire those things, because what? We mentally ill. And we need to be delivered from this mental illness that we suffering from right now, as we continue to be slaves to our flesh and our desires that don't lift up our Creator, that don't give Him honor and praise and all of these things, because we in the spirit where we are on God. And it's because we worship our desires above that of the Creator. And so we need to be delivered from this mental illness that we suffer. It don't matter, man, if we in our flesh, we mentally ill, because we operate in a lower frequency where we are not in tune with the perfect will of our Creator, that causes us to operate as one, as we made one with Him, because now we understand our place and our purpose and what we supposed to be about and how we serve Him, and that's as we love one another. So the bottom line is, until we come to that place that we've been born of the Spirit, we continue to suffer. We continue to suffer from mental illness. It is what it is, because to be separated from the divine will and understanding the love of our Creator, it is mental illness. It is. It is. It is what it is. So as I said, it's the Spirit of the Most High that is bringing forth the revelation to show us really how bad things are. And we haven't understood and believed how bad things are, family, because we've been conformed to the image of this world. We've been conformed to the image of Hasatan. Because in our flesh, Hasatan has brought forth this mind of the flesh through the lies. And because we've been spiritually dead, we haven't been able to understand that. So this is why we are slave to our desires, which causes us to continue to be our own God, that causes us to continue to defy and deny our Creator. Because we walking as our own God. So we need to understand the only way that we can be delivered from this mindset and this way of thinking and this way of life as we know it. Because as I said, the way we live in this world, in this so-called civilization, it's not really civil. It's just something that it's an illusion that we're civil. Because when you take away all the fig leaves, all of a sudden everybody becomes savages. And it's all about, hey, doing what it takes to survive. To survive, to be in this satanic existence, that's freaking mental illness. It is. Because to be living a life where you still just killing and stealing and conquering and doing all the things that it takes to be a part of this world. It's still the same damn thing as living as a savage, you know. And so the bottom line is, a savage is a beast that don't have no care about nothing else but itself. That's what this world continues to feed us and make us in a subtle way, but it's still the same thing. We still suffering from mental illness. Because to be in opposition to the Creator is mental illness. It's a place of lacking in all these things. And so, you know, the truth is, family, the only chance we got to be delivered from the mental illness that we suffer in as we slaves to our flesh is to be born of the Spirit. To cry out and to seek and search out the Creator, to try to find your place and understand yourself, so that you can serve Him in spirit and in truth, as you're able to see yourself through His eyes, through the spirit of His divine love that will change and transform your mind into the image, the likeness of His Son, in the sense that the Son was an example of what and who we are, but we haven't understood that. And so reality, family, the Son is not the Christ. The Christ is the Spirit that ruled and reigned in the Son's life. And so just like it ruled and reigned in His life, as it said, the same Spirit or Ruach that raised the Messiah from the dead shall quicken our mortal bodies. In other words, raise us from the dead, starting here in our minds. You know what I'm saying? Because what's happening now, see, we got the heart, the spirit, okay, our essence, because that's what the Spirit of the Creator is, our essence, okay? And so as we continue to feed that spirit, man, as we have that dialogue with our Father, you see what I'm saying? That essence begins to take over here, our minds. And the mind is the pinnacle of these earthen vessels. So who's sitting on the throne of our minds? See, it's either our pride in the flesh, that mental illness, or it's the divine Spirit of the Creator that makes us one with Him. So then guess what? As we made one mind with our Creator, we're able to be ourselves in fullness. And so as we come to that place and we understand the gifts and talents and abilities that the Father gave us to glorify Himself as our Creator. And so as we're able to do that and walk in that way, then we can't walk in the flesh no more. And so, as I said, the time is coming, family, for those of us who believe in understanding, through the understanding of his mind, we're going to have to walk away from this world as we've known it, because the Father is going to bring an end to this world as we've known it. And so this is why we have to be separated from it. It's a literal separation that's coming for those who do understand and do believe. This is why, family, I continue to say, seek the Creator for yourself, because only the Creator can reveal his absolute truth for your life. And understanding the reality, family, that all he ever meant for you to be is yourself. He placed his love in you. He placed his understanding in you. And all those things are already there as being a child of the Most High Power. But you have to seek and search him out for yourself to understand his will for your life. You know, the scripture says that narrow is the way to salvation, but broad is the way to destruction. And family, the reason that the way is so narrow, because it's your path. It's a path that the Creator has outlined and designed for your life as his child. And so the reality is you got to find that path. And the only place you're going to find that path is that you got to look within yourself. You got to look within and find the Creator and understand the Creator, that he placed a piece of himself in you. And that still small voice is the way he desires to have dialogue with you, to lead and guide your path through this creation process that we're going through, so that you can come into your inheritance as a child of the Most High in his divine kingdom, in its time and in its season. And so the bottom line is, you know, one of the things that the scripture says, come, let us reason together, saith the Master. And so the bottom line is you got to reason with the Creator. You got to have dialogue with him. And the reality is the only way that can happen is that he speaks to you, you speak to him, and it's an ongoing back and forth dialogue for you to get the understanding you need, you know what I'm saying, to come into your divinity as a child of the Most High. And it's not in pride, but it's in humility. Because ultimately, we was created to serve one another, because this is how we serve the Creator in spirit and truth, as we love one another. That's what he said. And so this is why we got to be born of the Spirit to be delivered from the mental illness that we suffer from, all the stuff that we've been through in this life. You know what I'm saying? And so we must be born again a second time. And that second time is to be born of the Spirit of our Creator, that ultimately is going to make us one with him, each other, our fellow creatures, and Mother Earth, and who he brought us all forth from. Such is the kingdom of heaven. And as I said, I believe the kingdom of heaven is already here and is all around us. But until our minds is renewed, we can't behold it. And as we behold it, family, that's what's going to make us walk away from this world as we know it. Because we know we don't belong here. We already get in the sense that we really don't belong here. And so the reality is we need the deliverance of our Creator as he give us our right mind and deliver us from the mental illness that we've been suffering from, as we've been subject to the spirit of the serpent, which is old cloven foot, okay, that causes us to be our own God, which, as I've said in another video, God's is not the Creator. The Creator is above that. And he's our only hope to be delivered from the darkness of this world. So, with that said, I hope I said something to give you something to think about and consider. And as I said, we got to understand, you know, that we got to be delivered from this mental illness. And only the Spirit of our Creator can do that. So, with that said, like I said, I pray that the Most High keep you and bless you and watch out over you in every way, as long as you continue to seek and search him out for yourself. So, with that said, until next time, I'll say one love and peace.